Have you ever listened, truly listened to the way you speak to yourself when no one else is around? Not the words you say out loud to others, not the kind responses or polite small talk, but the soft, unfiltered voice inside, the one that whispers when you rise in the morning and when the house falls silent at night. That voice has power, far more than we often realize, because every sentence we murmur to ourselves, whether it's full of doubt or full of hope, is like a drop of ink in the well of our lives. It colors how we move through the world. It shapes how we see ourselves. And over time, it silently sculpts the person we become. In Buddhist thought, the mind is the forerunner of all things. What we think, we become. What we repeatedly say to ourselves becomes the soil in which our future is planted. And the truth is this: you don't need years to begin transforming your life. You only need 3 days. 3 days of speaking to yourself with mindful care, emotional presence, and gentle conviction. 3 days of planting seeds in your heart instead of stones in your path. This is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing words that nourish instead of deplete. Words that align with the life you long for, not the pain you've outgrown. So today we begin quietly, with a whisper, a sacred conversation with ourselves. Let's walk through this together, slowly, gently, one breath at a time. Part 1. Thought is the root of all karma. There is an old Buddhist teaching that says, "With our thoughts we make the world." And while that may sound poetic, it is also, in a quiet and profound way, incredibly literal. Take, for instance, the story of Mr. Howard, a gentle man in his late 70s whom I met during a community mindfulness retreat in Oregon. He had once been a lively schoolteacher, full of wit and laughter, but in recent years, after retirement and the slow fading of old friendships, he began to speak differently, not to others but to himself. "I'm just getting in the way. My memory is going. I don't matter as much anymore." These weren't declarations of fact. They were, as he later admitted, quiet mantras he had unknowingly repeated each day, especially in the silence of morning. And yet, as he shared his story beneath a maple tree one crisp autumn afternoon, there was no self-pity in his voice, only realization. Because he had come to see something most of us take far too long to understand. Our thoughts are not harmless background noise. They are the architects of our emotional and physical reality. When you say to yourself, "I can't," even in a whisper, your body listens, your posture shifts, your breath shortens, the muscles in your chest tighten ever so slightly. The brain releases chemicals that correspond to stress, to resignation, and the world, sensing your lowered energy, reflects that belief right back at you. Not because it is cruel, but because you have set that tone from within. In Buddhist terms, this is karma in motion, not punishment, but cause and effect. A thought arises, it becomes a feeling. That feeling becomes action or inaction, and then ripples outward into your relationships, your habits, your health, your sense of worth. And here's the subtle tragedy: most of us aren't even aware we're doing it. We go through our days carrying the same thought loops, like old melodies we've forgotten how to turn off. Thoughts like, "I'm too old to change," "Nobody listens to people like me anymore," or "It's too late for me to find peace." And each time they echo, they deepen a groove in the mind, like water carving a canyon. Day after day, they shape the terrain of who we become. But there is good news, quietly radiant, like morning sun on a withered field. Because if thoughts can create suffering, they can also create freedom. If a belief, repeated often enough, can bind us, then a new thought, tenderly nurtured, can open the gate. Mr. Howard's transformation didn't begin with some grand revelation. It began with a single sentence, one he started whispering to himself each morning while placing a hand over his chest. I'm still here, and that means something. He said it felt strange at first, almost foolish, but he kept going. And within weeks, his daily walks became longer. His voice carried more strength when he spoke in our group. He even laughed, not the nervous chuckle of habit, but the deep, open-hearted kind that feels like sunlight cracking through cloud. This is what the Buddha meant when he spoke of right view, to see clearly the role of mind in shaping our experience. It isn't some distant philosophy for monks in robes. It's practical, it's immediate, and it starts with how we speak to ourselves before the rest of the world has a chance to. So I invite you to pause today, even just for a breath, and notice what words are circling in your mind. What story are they telling about who you are and what is possible? Because that story, however small it may seem, is already building the bridge to your next moment. Part 2. Negative self-talk. The quiet prison. There's a kind of prison many of us live in without even knowing we're behind bars. It has no visible walls, no locked doors, no iron chains, and yet it holds us back more firmly than any jail ever could. That prison is the silent, unchallenged stream of negative self-talk we carry with us, often for decades. You see, no one ever teaches us how to speak to ourselves. We learn how to be polite to others, how to say, "Thank you, please," and "I'm sorry." But no one ever sits us down and says, "This is how you should speak to your own heart when it's bruised," or "This is what you say to yourself when life disappoints you, when your body grows tired, or when the future seems smaller than the past." And so, left to our own devices, we fill in the silence. We say what we've heard, what we've absorbed, what the world once said to us in a moment of judgment or neglect. Over time, those words take root, and we begin to repeat them, not because they're true, but because they're familiar. There's a woman I knew named Ellen, who lost her husband after 47 years of marriage. In the early days of grief, she would say aloud, often to no one in particular, "I don't know who I am without him." That's a natural expression of sorrow. But as months passed, those words didn't fade. They hardened. Her self-talk became a loop. "I'm lost. I'm too old to start over. I'm no one now." And slowly, they became her reality. Not because she was no one, but because she believed she was. This is the quiet danger of unchecked self-talk. It doesn't just reflect how we feel, it reinforces it. And what begins as emotion becomes identity. In Buddhist psychology, this is known as clinging to the aggregates. We grasp at temporary feelings and mistaken perceptions, and then build a self out of them. This sadness is me. This fear is me. This voice in my head, that must be who I truly am. But here's the truth, dear friend. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who hears them. The voice in your head is not your soul. It is a habit. And like any habit, it can be unlearned. Science confirms this. Studies show that most people have between 60,000 and 70,000 thoughts each day, and that more than 90% of those are exactly the same as the day before. Think about that for a moment. That means if yesterday you woke up and thought, "I'm tired, I'm not enough, life is hard," you're very likely to wake up today thinking the exact same things, unless you choose otherwise. It's like walking the same footpath in a field again and again. The grass wears down, the soil hardens, the route becomes automatic. But what if that path doesn't lead anywhere you actually want to go? What if it loops you endlessly through loneliness, shame, or resignation? There's a practice in Buddhism called noting. It's the gentle act of observing your thoughts without judgment. When a thought arises, you simply name it: worrying, judging, remembering, and in that moment, you create space. Just enough space to not be consumed by it. You become the watcher, not the prisoner. That's what Ellen began to do. Slowly, tenderly. She started writing down the harsh things she told herself, and then sat with each one like an old friend. She asked, "Is this true? Is this kind? Is this helping me or harming me?" And when the answer was no, she began to whisper a new sentence, one that felt foreign at first, but kinder. "I'm still learning. I'm still here. I'm allowed to begin again." In time, that sentence took root. She joined a writing group. She began baking again. She laughed at her own jokes. And the path she once walked in grief became a bridge to something new. So ask yourself gently, what words am I using to describe my life? Are they lifting you or keeping you small? Because the prison doors may not be locked. They may just be waiting for you to speak differently and walk yourself out. Part 3. Rewiring your life in just 3 days. Change often feels like a mountain we're too tired to climb, especially in later years. There's this quiet whisper many carry that says, "I've lived this way for too long," or "It's too late for me." But what if that whisper wasn't wisdom, but a habit? What if the mind, trained for decades to expect the same feelings and outcomes, simply needed a new script, not a new body or a new past? This is where the power of 3 simple days comes in, not as a miracle cure, but as a sacred pause, a turning point, a time to begin again with intention. Because, as both neuroscience and Buddhist insight affirm, it doesn't take forever to begin transforming the mind. It only takes presence, practice, and a few conscious days. There's a story of an old monk in a mountain temple, visited by a man whose life had unraveled, his business lost, his children distant, his spirit hollowed out. "I've come too late," the man said. "I have nothing left to start with." The monk smiled and poured him tea. As the cup filled and began to overflow, the man panicked. "Stop. It's already full." The monk gently placed the pot down and replied, "Exactly. Before we begin again, we must first empty the cup. What we pour into our inner cup each day is self-talk. And for most of us, that cup is brimming with stale doubts, inherited fears, and recycled stories. The next 3 days offer you the chance to pour something new, consciously, clearly, and with deep emotional presence. Here's the essence of the practice. For 3 consecutive days, you become the loving gatekeeper of your inner dialogue. You speak to yourself as if your words were seeds, because they are. And those seeds, when charged with heartfelt emotion, begin to grow into new neural pathways, new feelings, and eventually a new way of being. Each morning, before the weight of the day has a chance to settle on your shoulders, place your hand over your heart and offer yourself a phrase of renewal, something simple yet whole. "Today I begin again," or "My heart is still open." Speak it softly, but mean it. Let it echo in your chest, like a bell rung at dawn. Then, throughout the day, become an observer of your thoughts. Not a critic, an observer. When an old phrase arises, "This is too hard," or "I can't do this," pause, name it, breathe, and gently replace it with a truer voice. "I am capable. I am learning. I am stronger than I remember." This practice isn't about lying to yourself. It's about telling yourself a deeper truth, one the noisy world may have drowned out. And when evening comes, before drifting into sleep, revisit your words, whisper them again. Let them be the final sound your heart hears before rest. Science tells us that the brain is most malleable, most open to new programming, in those in-between states, right after waking, mid-afternoon, and just before sleep. These are your windows, but Buddhism has always known this too. These moments of natural stillness are prime for planting the seeds of intention. The trick is not volume, it's consistency and emotion, because your body listens, your cells listen, your energy field, subtle as moonlight, shifts with each word you speak with feeling. The more you return to this practice, the more the inner voice that once criticized you begins to soften and eventually begins to guide you. On the third day, you may notice something small, a new calm in your breath, a subtle clarity in your decisions, or even a deeper kindness toward yourself. This is not coincidence, it is evidence. It's the first sign that the bridge from your old mind to your new reality is being built. One thought, one word, one whisper at a time. So no, it is not too late. It never was. The mountain hasn't moved, but you have. And from where you now stand, the path ahead looks different. Not because it's easier, but because now you're finally speaking to yourself like someone worth listening to. Part 4. When the heart and mind chant together, there's something powerful that happens when our thoughts and our emotions no longer pull in opposite directions, when the words we whisper to ourselves match the feelings that rise in our chest. This inner alignment, subtle yet profound, is what both science and spiritual tradition point to as the gateway to transformation. In modern language, it's called heart-brain coherence. In Buddhist wisdom, it echoes the unity of body, speech, and mind, the alignment of what we think, what we say, and what we feel. Let me tell you about Josephine, an 82-year-old widow who lived alone in a quiet seaside town. She had survived much in her life: war, the death of a child, cancer, and a long, complicated marriage. On the outside, she appeared to be doing well, as her neighbors would say, but inside, she confessed to feeling emotionally hollow, as though joy had packed its bags and left sometime in her 70s. She came to a mindfulness group I facilitated, not because she believed it would change her life, but because someone made tea and the chairs looked comfortable. What began as quiet attendance became, over time, quiet transformation. I remember the moment it started. We were practicing a simple heart meditation, placing our hands over our chests and repeating the words, "I am safe, I am loved, I am here." Most of the group whispered the phrase, eyes closed, but Josephine stayed silent. Later, she admitted something I'll never forget. "I didn't say it because I didn't feel it, and I didn't want to lie." Her honesty was raw, but over the next few sessions, something shifted. She didn't force the words. She waited until one morning she did feel a hint of safety, a glimmer of belonging, and that day she whispered the phrase, just once, and felt her own voice reverberate through her ribcage. It was like someone else was saying it, she told me, but also like it was finally me. That, my friend, is heart-mind coherence. Not chanting empty affirmations, not forcing yourself to smile through pain, but allowing yourself to feel into the truth of the words you choose, and to choose words that your heart is ready to believe, even in the smallest dose. In Buddhist terms, this is the cultivation of samyak vak, or right speech, not just in how we talk to others, but in how we talk to ourselves. Speech that is true, kind, timely, and beneficial. And when that speech is aligned with our heart's wisdom, a kind of sacred resonance occurs. Physiologically, when we reach this state of inner harmony, our heart rhythm begins to stabilize. It sends calm signals to the brain, reducing stress hormones and increasing the production of healing chemicals like oxytocin and serotonin. Emotionally, we feel grounded. Spiritually, we come home to ourselves. Imagine for a moment that your mind is a bell and your heart is the wooden striker. When the two are in harmony, they create a pure, clear tone that ripples through the body and out into the world. This tone has a frequency, not metaphorically, but literally. Science now confirms that our emotional state carries an electromagnetic signature that affects not only our own biology, but the people around us. So when you speak to yourself with both clarity and care, when you believe what you say even just a little, you're not only shifting your thoughts, you're shifting your energy. You're lighting a quiet lantern inside the temple of your body. You're becoming, in the truest sense, coherent, whole, and coherence doesn't mean perfection. It means presence. It means that your mind is no longer fighting your heart, and your heart is no longer closing its doors to your thoughts. They walk together, like old friends reunited after years of misunderstanding. Josephine now begins each day not with a flood of declarations, but with one whispered truth. I'm still here, and I still matter. And because she feels it, not just says it, her body listens, her face softens, her movements slow but steady, and the world in its quiet wisdom mirrors her back with gentleness. So today, try not to speak louder, try to speak truer. Speak in a way your heart can recognize. And when your words and your feelings begin to echo each other, you'll feel it, a stillness inside that is not empty, but full of quiet power. Part 5. The 3 Golden Hours of Mind Reprogramming. In Buddhist monasteries, the day is gently divided by bells, one for rising, one for sitting, one for eating, one for reflection. These chimes are not there to command, they're reminders. They whisper, now is a good moment to return to yourself, to realign the mind, to start fresh. And in the rhythm of modern life, though our bells may be silent, our bodies still know these windows, moments when the gates of awareness creak, open just enough for change to slip through. Science calls them peak neuroplastic periods, times when the brain is especially receptive to new patterns. Buddhism calls them natural gaps, spaces between doing and being, between sleep and wakefulness, between day and night, where transformation takes root. There are 3 golden hours in the day when your inner voice carries more weight, more influence, and more possibility than any other time. And if used intentionally, these windows can become sacred thresholds, not to somewhere far away, but back to your own clarity. The first golden hour is dawn, not the exact time on the clock, but that quiet, fragile moment when you first open your eyes. Before the world rushes in, before your phone lights up, before your mind tightens around your to-do list. This is when your subconscious is still soft, like wet earth waiting for seeds. And the first words you speak to yourself here aren't just thoughts. They are instructions. One woman I knew, Helen, a retired nurse in her early 70s, began practicing a morning ritual of placing her hand on her heart before getting out of bed. Just that. No grand declarations, no mantras memorized from books, just her palm against her chest, breathing gently and saying, I am safe, I am steady. I will walk today with grace. She said, it felt odd at first, but after a week, she noticed something strange. Her mornings didn't feel so sharp around the edges. Her mood softened. Her balance improved. Her breath deepened. The second golden hour arrives in the lull of the afternoon, usually between 2 o'clock and 4 p.m. It's the time when most people feel their energy dip, when attention wanes and weariness creeps in. But it's also when the mind is most open to influence, not unlike the gentle receptiveness of a tired child. This is when you step outside, stretch your limbs, or take a slow walk, and as you do, you repeat the same gentle words you said in the morning. This time, you add movement. You move your body while speaking your truth, not rushing, not pushing, Just walking, maybe swaying your arms slightly and saying softly, "I can handle this day. My pace is perfect. I am enough." This pairing of motion and affirmation speaks directly to the nervous system. It bridges the gap between theory and embodiment. The words become rhythm. They settle into muscle, into marrow, and finally, the third golden hour, early evening, around 7 o'clock to 9 p.m. This is the hour of gentle closure, the final turning inward before sleep. It's when your brain consolidates what you've learned, what you've felt, what you've told yourself. And if you do nothing else during the day, do this. Sit quietly, perhaps by the window or on the edge of your bed. Place your hand again on your heart and whisper, "Today, I took steps forward. Today, I spoke to myself with kindness. Tomorrow, I will rise with new strength." In Buddhist tradition this evening, reflection mirrors the practice of atapa, a term meaning effort infused with warmth. It's not about self-critique, it's about recognizing your own sincerity, your willingness to try, even in small ways. These three windows, morning, afternoon, and evening, are not magical hours. They're not rituals reserved for monks in robes. They are your chance to return to the garden of your mind with gentleness and intent, to weed out the harsh inner voices and water what is tender, true, and waiting. And over time, something remarkable happens. You begin to notice that your reactions soften, your breath becomes your ally, your body, once tense with self-doubt, begins to relax into a new identity, one shaped not by accident, but by conscious kindness. So I ask you, gently, what will you whisper into these sacred hours? What seeds will you plant in the soil of your own becoming? Part 6. Resistance is the voice of the old self dying. It's a quiet moment in any real transformation when everything inside you begins to push back. You've been doing the work. You've been saying the words. You've shown up each day with your hand on your heart, whispering truths that feel gentler, wiser, closer to who you want to be. And yet, there it is, that ache, that discomfort, that creeping voice that says, "This is silly, this isn't working. Why bother?" Ah, dear one, that voice is not failure. It's the echo of your old self dying. In the Buddhist path, this moment is well known. It's not an error in the process. It is the process. When a practitioner sits in meditation and begins to soften the mind, the first thing that often rises isn't peace. It's restlessness, physical discomfort, emotional resistance. In Tibetan teachings, it's called shenpa, the urge to pull back into what's familiar, even when what's familiar is pain. Why? Because the body, just like the mind, becomes addicted to its emotional states. If you've lived for years in a pattern of anxiety, or low self-worth, or self-criticism, those feelings don't just vanish because you decided to think differently. They linger, they protest, they push against the new words you're speaking because they are biochemical patterns your body has learned to rely on. And like any withdrawal, change feels uncomfortable at first. Think of it like this. When a stream has carved a path through the forest for years, the water doesn't immediately change course just because you block the flow. It surges, it floods, it resists. But with steady redirection, stone by stone, day by day, a new path begins to form. I remember a man named Arthur who came to one of our weekend retreats. He was 68 and carried a deep sense of failure from a divorce decades ago. Every time he tried to speak to himself kindly, he'd feel nauseous. "It feels like lying," he said. "I don't deserve these good words." And so I asked him, gently, Who decided that? He paused for a long time. Then he said, I did, a long time ago. And that's the truth of it. Most of the time, the beliefs that harm us most are the ones we assigned ourselves long before we knew better. What Arthur began to understand, and what you may be facing now, is that this inner resistance is not a sign to quit. It is a sign that something is loosening. The old programming, like roots clinging to dry soil, is being pulled free. And the discomfort you feel is the shaking of that root system. In Buddhist language, this is the death of old karma. The habits, speech and thoughts that have shaped your suffering are finally being brought into the light, not to punish you, but to be released. And release, like all birth and death, rarely comes without trembling. So what do you do when the resistance comes? You breathe, you pause, and you remember this is the moment of breakthrough, not breakdown. If the voice says, this isn't working, reply softly, that's the old voice. I'm listening to something new now. If the thought says, this is too hard, say instead, hard is okay. I've done hard things before, and I'm still here. And if your body tightens, sit still, hand to chest and breathe until the storm passes, because it will. You're growing, and like a caterpillar in a cocoon, the stillness that feels suffocating is actually the beginning of wings. Every person I've known who has truly transformed their self-talk has faced this wall, the same doubt, the same discomfort, the same pull to return to old patterns. But those who kept going, they emerged quieter, stronger, more fully themselves. So let this discomfort be your teacher, not your jailer. Let it tell you that something sacred is unfolding, not always in comfort, but in truth, not in loud victories, but in quiet, persistent kindness. And when you wake tomorrow and hear the old voice again, don't panic, just nod and whisper back, I remember you, but I no longer follow you. That's how a new self begins to rise, not all at once, but word by word, breath by breath, until the resistance becomes reverence. Part 7. When you change your self-talk, you change your biology. We often think of our bodies and minds as two separate realms. One aches, the other dreams, one wrinkles with time, the other remembers youth. But in truth, they are two sides of the same river, flowing through every thought, every breath, every emotion we carry. What we say to ourselves, those seemingly invisible, quiet murmurings, are not merely psychological, they are physical. They shape the body, cell by cell, day by day. It may seem poetic to say that words heal, but it is also scientific. Every thought you think produces chemicals in your body. When you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, your brain responds by releasing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate increases. Your immune system weakens. Your digestive process slows. Your muscles tighten. All of this happens not because something real has hurt you, but because you thought it did. On the other hand, when you say to yourself, I am safe, or I am learning to love this stage of life, your body hears that too. It begins producing dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, the so-called feel-good hormones. But they are more than that. These chemicals influence how your genes express themselves. They signal your cells to repair, to renew, to grow. In Buddhist language, we might say, this is the law of interdependence, that body and mind are not two but one, that what arises in the mind arises in the body, and what you offer one, you offer to the other. I remember speaking with a woman named Teresa in her mid-60s who had carried chronic tension in her shoulders for over a decade. She had tried massages, stretches, medication, but during a self-compassion workshop, she realized something The tension always worsened when she failed at something, burned the toast, forgot a name, dropped her keys. In those moments, her inner voice would lash out, "You're useless. Why are you like this?" She began to track this pattern, and more importantly, she began to change the tone. The next time she stumbled, she placed her hand over her shoulder and whispered, "It's okay. That was small. I'm still whole." It took time. It took patience. But slowly, the tension softened. Her body began to believe what her heart had waited years to hear. You see, the body doesn't wait for truth. It responds to repetition. If you tell it, over and over, that it is unworthy, it adjusts to that message. But if you tell it, again and again, you are safe or you are loved, it begins to create the inner chemistry of safety, of love. Think of your cells as tiny monks, sitting in meditation, listening to the voice of your mind. When that voice is harsh, they brace themselves. When it is kind, they relax. And when it is consistent, they transform. And yes, this change is measurable. Doctors have found that people who practice positive self-talk and compassion-based meditation show lower levels of inflammation, better immune response, and slower aging at the cellular level. Your biology listens. It takes notes. That's why it matters so much to speak not only wisely, but regularly. It's not enough to say something kind to yourself once and expect everything to change. This isn't magic, it's medicine. And medicine works through dosage and consistency. Buddhism teaches us about right effort, not excessive striving, but steady, wholehearted care. And that's exactly how you must approach this inner healing. Not with force, but with devotion. You don't yell at a flower to bloom. You tend the soil, offer sunlight, and wait. So the next time you feel tightness in your chest, or a fog settling in your thoughts, ask, "What did I just say to myself?" And then gently say something new, not to erase the pain, but to remind your body that it no longer lives in the past. Because when you change your self-talk, you are not simply changing a mindset, you are changing your chemistry, your healing, your rhythm. You are changing the very way your body inhabits this world. And that, my friend, is the quiet beginning of physical liberation. Part 8. Self-talk doesn't just change you, it changes the world around you. There's a quiet truth many people never discover when you begin to treat yourself differently on the inside. The outside world responds in kind, not because reality has suddenly changed overnight, but because your relationship with it has. And that subtle shift, barely visible but deeply felt, creates a ripple effect far beyond the borders of your own body and mind. In Buddhist thought, this is the law of interbeing, a beautiful concept that tells us nothing exists alone. We are not isolated islands drifting in separate oceans. We are waves in the same sea. The way we speak to ourselves changes the current beneath us, and that current touches everyone we meet. I once knew a man named Charles. He was 76 when I met him. Retired military, always impeccably dressed, with a voice that could carry across a room. But beneath his polished manners, there was an undercurrent of anger. His words, especially the ones he said to himself, were laced with judgment. "I've wasted time. I'm too old to change. No one really wants to hear what I have to say anymore." He didn't say these things out loud to others, of course, but you could feel them in his presence, like a low hum of resignation just beneath the surface. During one of our retreats, I invited everyone to write down one sentence they often said silently to themselves, and then rewrite it as if speaking to a dear friend. Charles scoffed at first, but eventually he picked up his pen. His original sentence was simple: "No one cares." His rewritten one: after sitting in silence for nearly an hour, read, "I am still worth loving." He didn't speak much after that, but something shifted. The next morning, he poured someone tea without being asked. He complimented a younger man on his singing. He began to ask people about their lives instead of lecturing. And over the next few weeks, his phone, once quiet, began to ring again. What happened? He didn't change the world. He changed the vibration he sent into it. You see, when you shift your self-talk from criticism to compassion, your energy changes. You move differently. You speak with more patience. You listen with more presence. And others, sensing that softness, respond with trust, warmth, curiosity. It's not magic, it's resonance. Even the Dalai Lama often says, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. That practice begins not with others, but with yourself. Because what you cultivate inside becomes the offering you bring to the world. Your family will feel it. Your friends will notice it. Strangers may not know exactly what's different about you, but they'll feel safer near you. Like sitting beside a quiet stream, something in them will relax, simply because you have relaxed into yourself. And it doesn't stop with people. When you begin to honor your own inner world, you also start treating the outer world more gently. You take your time. You notice the way sunlight moves across a table. You pick up trash on the sidewalk without resentment. You become, without realizing it, a quieter presence of peace in a very loud world. That's the beauty of this work. You think you're changing yourself, but you're also changing the field around you. In the language of science, your thoughts emit a measurable electromagnetic field. In the language of spirit, your presence carries a frequency. And in the language of love, you are always either offering safety or adding to the noise. So I invite you to pause and consider, what are you broadcasting today? Because when you begin speaking to yourself with the tone of a wise friend, a kind teacher, a patient healer, something extraordinary happens. The world mirrors that back, not always immediately, not always perfectly, but steadily, like ripples reaching a distant shore. Speak to yourself as though your words matter, because they do, not just for you, but for all of us. Part 9. Every thought is a seed for your future. In a quiet corner of a monastery garden, an old monk once said to a young visitor, "The thoughts you water are the thoughts that will grow." He said it while gently tending a small row of medicinal herbs, brushing his fingers over each leaf with such care it was as if he were blessing them. The boy, confused, asked, "How do you water a thought?" The monk smiled, not with his mouth, but with his whole presence, and replied, "By thinking it again." That story stayed with me for years, and it returns now because there may be no greater truth when it comes to self-talk. What you repeat becomes what you believe, and what you believe becomes the soil where your future takes root. Each thought you allow to echo through your mind is a seed. Some are seeds of fear, others are seeds of hope. Some are old, inherited seeds, handed down by parents, teachers, or years of struggle. Others are newer, but just as powerful. The question is not whether you are planting seeds. You are. The question is, which ones are you watering? There's a gentle woman named Marianne, once counseled after she lost her husband of nearly 50 years. In the thick of her grief, she told me, "I wake up each morning and say to myself, there's nothing left." And as the days passed, that single sentence became more than a phrase. It became her posture, her pace, her tone. It became her life. One day, I asked her, if you could whisper something else to yourself, anything at all, what would it be? She thought for a long time. Then she whispered, "I still have breath." That became her new seed. Not a loud affirmation, not a demand, just a soft truth. And from that small shift, others began to follow. I still have breath became, I can still feel. Then I can still create. And months later, she joined a ceramics class at the community center. It wasn't grand. It wasn't perfect. But her hands, once idle, began to shape clay, and her voice, once quiet, began to carry warmth again. What happened? She began planting different seeds. You see, many people believe that the future is something that happens to them, but the Dharma teaches otherwise. In Buddhism, the future is not a distant event. It is unfolding right now, in your speech, your thoughts, your intentions. This is karma in its most intimate form, the unfolding of consequence, not as punishment, but as continuation. And your self-talk is a continuation of your karma. Every time you repeat a thought, especially one loaded with emotion, you are carving a deeper path in your consciousness. If that path says, I'm too old, too late, too broken, then that's where your energy will flow. But if the path says, I'm still becoming, then your life, no matter your age, begins again. This is why it's so important to become a wise gardener of your inner world. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every inner voice deserves your loyalty. Just because a sentence feels familiar doesn't mean it's true. Just because it echoes through your mind doesn't mean it belongs to your future. Start noticing which thoughts feel heavy, which ones shrink your chest, cloud your gaze, tighten your jaw. These are seeds of fear. Let them be. Don't water them. Then notice the ones that feel lighter, truer, even if they're small. I am learning. I matter. I am allowed to grow, even now. Water those, repeat them, whisper them in the morning light, breathe them before sleep, write them in the margins of your calendar. Let them become your inner chant. Because your future is not built in one grand moment of decision. It's built in the quiet repetition of what you believe you deserve. And what you deserve, no matter how many years have passed, no matter how many regrets you carry, is to be spoken to with love. So plant your thoughts with care, speak them with intention, and remember the most fertile soil for a new beginning is the one you tend within yourself. Conclusion. A new reality begins with a whisper. Let's pause here, right where you are, reading these words with the quiet breath of awareness slowly returning to your chest. After all we've walked through together, the old habits, the fragile beginnings, the golden hours, and the soft rebellion against those voices that once defined you, there is one final truth that remains. Your new life does not begin with a roar. It begins with a whisper. The whisper you speak to yourself when no one else is around. The whisper that dares to say, maybe I am worthy after all. The whisper that gently counters the weight of years with one small but courageous phrase. Today, I begin again. We are taught in this world to measure progress in loud, visible ways by titles, achievements, checklists, and applause. But in the way of the Dharma, the most powerful transformation is often unseen. It begins within, like a seed cracking open beneath the soil, long before anything green ever reaches the light. And so I ask you, not as a teacher, but as a fellow traveler on this quiet path, what will you say to yourself when the world goes silent? What will you plant when no one is watching? What will you choose when the past tries to pull you back with its familiar grip? Because in this moment, this breath, you are choosing. Whether consciously or not, you are reinforcing a pattern or breaking it. You are falling back asleep, or you are slowly, tenderly waking up. And that's what this journey has always been about. Not perfection, not endless positivity, but awareness, compassionate awareness. The kind that notices a cruel inner voice and says, no, not today. Today I speak differently. You've learned that your thoughts are not just reflections of your mood, they are instruments of creation. You've seen how your body listens, how your cells respond, how your very biology shifts when you begin to treat yourself with the care you once thought had to come from someone else. You've come to understand that self-talk is not self-indulgent, it is self-liberation. And now, as this reflection closes, you stand on a threshold, not of a new belief, but of a new relationship with yourself. One built not on shame or striving, but on quiet reverence. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to become someone else. You only need to return, each morning, each golden hour, each evening, to the voice inside that speaks not from fear, but from love. So tonight, before you sleep, place your hand on your heart and say something true, something kind, something your younger self never heard enough of, and your present self has waited far too long to believe. And tomorrow when you rise, let that voice lead you again. Let your new reality unfold, not through force, but through gentleness, not through pressure, but through presence. Because the life you long for, the peace, the clarity, the quiet joy, it doesn't wait at the top of some distant mountain. It waits in the way you speak to yourself, moment by moment, as you walk the path. And so, I leave you with this simple blessing. May you walk gently through your days, guided not by the noise of the world, but by the whisper of your own awakening. And may that whisper become the song that carries you home.